You're lying in bed at night and realize it's happening again. The thing you didn't want to do anymore. The pattern behavior that you were done with. The pace that's killing you. The striving that's stealing your peace. Feeling empty. You had a breakthrough. You felt something shift. And you left that moment certain that things would be different. And now it's a little while later, and you're feeling right back where you started. At that moment, we tell ourselves all kinds of things. I must not have wanted it badly enough. I didn't have enough discipline. I didn't have enough faith. I didn't follow through. But what if that's not what's happening? What happened was you had a revelation, but the belief underneath never fully changed. You saw the truth, you got excited, but the lie you had been operating from your whole life is still running in the background. And that lie is louder, deeper, more wired in than any breakthrough moment that could override it in a single conversation. Let me show you what I mean. I had a client, a brilliant woman, who kept ending up in the hospital, not once, but 3 times, always after a major season, a crisis, a breakdown. And she would push through, lead through it, perform her way to the other side, and then her body would just shut down. So she's gotten a victory, it feels like. She's gotten through it. She's gotten over it. She's done with that. And then her body would shut down completely. Hospital level shutdown. And every single time she would tell herself the same thing. This must be God's way of slowing me down. He knows I won't rest unless he makes me. She wrapped all of that in a spiritual language. And I've even said something similar. Have you? It makes it sound holy. Like her body collapsing was a divine intervention instead of what it actually was her nervous system was overriding a belief that she didn't even know she had because she couldn't see what she couldn't see. She knew she needed to rest, and she had a revelation a dozen times that she needed to rest. God had told her she needed to rest. Her body had told her she needed to rest, and every person in her life had spoken that too. But underneath the knowing was the belief if I rest, I fail. If I slow down, I'm weak. And if I stop pushing, everything else will just fall apart. And the belief was stronger than the revelation that she had. So her body took over. It forced rest. She wouldn't give herself permission to take because being sick was permission in her subconscious. Because the root belief, the one running the whole system, was still in control. This is one of the things you may not have been told about lasting change. You can have a revelation, a moment of breakthrough, and still live from a lie. You can see the new path and still default to the old one because knowing what is true and being wired to operate from what is true are completely different things. It's what you call renewing your mind in the Bible in Romans. Your brain doesn't care that you've had a breakthrough. It cares that you survive. And to your brain, survival actually means familiar. even though it's not something you want, that old pattern feels safe because it's known. The new pattern, even when you begged God for it, it registers as a threat. So you pull back. And it does it so quietly, so subtly, you don't even realize it's happening until you're already there. You think you're being realistic, responsible, and you think you're managing expectations, planning ahead, protecting yourself from disappointment. But what you're actually doing is reverting to an old operating system that kept you alive before you knew God would keep you alive in a different way. And here's the part that really is hard for me to watch in people. It is the worst part is they blame themselves. You think the problem is your lack of discipline, your weak faith, your inability to hold on to what God gave you. So you go back to a conference, you hire a different coach, you go to another webinar, you collect another revelation and hope this time it will stick. But it's not about changing behavior. It's about activating the truth in your subconscious, in your operating system, if you will. And it actually learning how to rewire what's running underneath. I've been doing this work a long time. And what I needed was someone who could help pull back and understand what is really going on. Someone who can help you see the belief you don't even know you're operating in. Someone who can help you with the Holy Spirit to expose and obliterate the lie that's loud. And it feels louder than the truth, but it's really not. Someone who can help you close that gap between a new thing and a life you actually want to live. That's why I created wisdom consultations or wisdom calls, not to give you more information, not to inspire you again, but to see what you can't see, to expose what's hidden beneath what it looks like to have success, to help you rewire at the root. So the next time you have a breakthrough, it doesn't die in the gap between knowing and being. That's a really important phrase. The gap between knowing and being. Are you ready to talk? Because together, partnering with God, we can have lasting, foundational transformation. The link is below. I'll see you there.